Shalom, family. I hope everybody is doing well. It's good to see you all here. And before I even move on, I did a live stream last night with the True Royal family. And when I went to look at that live stream, YouTube must have put on, I kid you not, probably about 15 ads. And I know why they did it. What they were trying to do is discourage people from watching it. So if you saw it last night, you probably encountered all of those commercials. I sure didn't do that. It was YouTube. Anytime they don't want people to see a certain live stream, they'll do stuff like that. So I went in there and I removed a lot of the ads. There are still some ads there, but it's certainly not 15. Okay. Yeah. So I do apologize, and I'm going to have to just look after every single live stream and see if they try to overload it with so many ads that people won't watch. And that's really the whole point of them doing that. And they've done that to me before. They've done it for like the last several years. So it's nothing new. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are big protests going on across the country. And the protest is the war in Gaza. And it is very divided in the country right now because of this. And the biggest protests are happening across America. I think the biggest one they're talking about is Colombia. And last night there was some upheaval going on at UCLA. I'm going to play a clip from ABC News, and I will be right back with the rest of the commentary that I want to go over with you. All right. Okay, so before I get started, can I get a 1 if you can see the screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
We're going to go to Trevor Alt now on the scene at UCLA. The situation on that campus escalating overnight. Good morning to you, Trevor.
Good morning, Robin. So it had already been very tense here at UCLA for several days, but this was a very aggressive turn overnight. I mean, look at the law enforcement presence that is here this morning. We're talking about hundreds of officers. In the distance there is the pro-Palestinian encampment. And what you're going to notice as you see all these law enforcement officers, we have the barricades here that they just put up a couple moments ago. All the officers are facing out because they don't want any more demonstrators to make their way in. We saw several hours of violent clashes. There were points where some pro-Israeli demonstrators surrounded some portions of the encampment. There were multiple instances where fireworks were tossed into the encampment overnight. And we saw people on both sides using plywood boards, using batons, even these kinds of barriers to attack one another, to the point that UCLA officials referred to this as horrific violence. They called in law enforcement to try to restore some kind of order and safety. But these kinds of clashes continued late into the night. UCLA, among a number of campuses, has had one of the more prominent pro-Israeli demonstrations. Over the weekend, they had thousands of people there for a counter-protest. There were some instances then of people breaking through barricades for at least a few violent clashes. But what we saw overnight here was absolutely a significant escalation in the conflict here between these two groups. George?
No question about it, Trevor.
Okay. Yeah. Let me get rid of that. And yeah, Colombia is another big one. In fact, Eric Adams have talked about law enforcement being there because, see, at Columbia, they barricaded themselves inside of a building, and law enforcement had to go in the building to break down the barriers they set up, and people got arrested. So, overall, y'all, around the country, in New York alone, there were 300 arrests, and there were others around the country. So it's a clash between Israel and pro Palestinian students that's going on across college campus. But you know what, y'all? This is a precursor of what's to come for America. You think these clashes look bad? It's going to get a hell of a lot worse now that we are in these final times. I expect this kind of stuff. And I'm just telling you, this is nothing compared to what's coming for this place. Yes, it is showing a lot of divisions in America, divisions that were always there. These divisions are not new. And you have to look at the fact that that war has been going on since what, October 7th? And the demonstrations, they start jumping off almost immediately. So this has been going on. They're estimating from now the chart that you're looking at right now. This is from April 18th to present day of the different outbreaks that are the protests that are going on, and it's bubbling over all through politics and everything. And you're seeing the usual people that you would normally see out here. And actually, Donald Trump has come out recently, and he's very pro-Israel. Now, many of his supporters are not speaking like that. In fact, they're speaking the total opposite of Donald Trump. But you have to understand one big thing about why Donald Trump is sounding so pro-Israel. Number one, Donald Trump said, and if you go back during those times when all that stuff went down with Kyrie and Kanye online, Trump said he don't like the Israelis here in America. He said they're very ungrateful. That's what Donald Trump said. He likes the ones over there in Israel. Well, you got to also take into consideration Donald Trump has a son in law that is Jewish. And that plays a big part in why he is talking the way that he is. Now, I know this is not going to be good for the MAGA crowd because they don't stand like that with Israel, not the MAGAs. And so, you already see signs of them online, they're not on the side of Israel. Many of them are not when you look at a lot of the comments. But that's why Donald Trump is taking that position, because I know some people, they they were kind of blown away. I really wasn't. I really was not blown by anything he said. So, y'all, 300 students arrested. This is why we must stay out of it. One good thing I noticed over the weekend when they were coming out with all these reports and everything about what was going down on college campuses, I did not see as many of our folks out there. A few weeks ago, I did see some of our folks out there, and I'm like, why? What's going on over there has absolutely nothing to do with us. And we got to start talking to our young people so they don't get all involved in these fights. And the few that were protesting, as soon as the police spotted them in the crowd, they went past everybody else and went and got the black student. So, no, we don't need to be out there. Your young people, look, this is the end of the college and university year anyway. They finish around this time. And on top of that, this is the graduation season. So they really don't need to be out there at all. If they're not, it's not their time to graduate, they should be making their way home. Plain and simple. They shouldn't be out there at all. But I noticed in the recent footage that came out today, I really didn't see our people in the crowd. And I was really happy to see that. But a week ago, I did see some of our people in those crowds. I did. Yeah, they are making all this, and it's just not him. It's also that I guess the president of the ADL, he's doing the same thing, you know, um, demanding that these protests go away. But you notice one thing, y'all. Remember, what was that sister's name that lost her job as the dean? I remember her last name was Gay, but I can't quite remember her first name. Remember how they grilled them, her and other university deans, on why they weren't doing anything about anti-Semitism on campus? I notice with these other universities, they're not dragging anybody in. Harvard, okay, thank you. Claudine Gay, there you go. Thanks a lot, everybody. Big help. Thank you. Um, I noticed they're not dragging any of these college deans, and I've seen some of them, and they don't seem to be making those same demands on these college deans that they put on her. I also noticed that too. I don't know if you notice, I don't hear no demands for college deans to come up to Capitol Hill from all these schools. I don't see no rumbling about it at all. All I see is them demanding that they quash all of these protests. That's all. But they're not making those same demands that they put on Claudine Gay. You know, I'm not seeing that. Not seeing that same, they're not turning up on these people like they did on her. So, y'all, this is going to go on. This is probably going to go on through the month. It may die out because, like I said, it's the end of the school year and people are going to be going home. leaving the dorms and going home. So it will probably fizzle out in the next few weeks. Not unless they go to other parts or other cities to protest, which they very well could do. But yeah, they are really jumping off pretty hard at these schools, to the point last week I saw some of them had to close down classes because the protesting was so big on campus that they couldn't get anything done. And yeah, as you can see, it's a big police presence everywhere. But even yeah, they arrested 300. Students are probably already out, y'all. They're probably already out of jail. No, this isn't. It's not going anywhere. You know, if you remember before it got big on college campuses, it was going on in a lot of major cities across the country where protests broke out right after the October 7th incident over there. The protests started immediately in a lot of the cities, especially New York. If you remember, you can go back and look at the stories. It was big protests going on between the Palestinian and the Jewish community up there in New York. They were out in the streets in massive numbers. So, no, I mean, as long as the fighting is going on over there, you can expect a lot of mass protests going on over here. But I must say what I said before, stay out of it, y'all. This is not our fight. We got bigger fish to fry in our community, and we don't have time to be taking on the burdens of other people. They sure don't take our burdens on at all. They could care less about us. So, I said this before, talk to your young people and keep them out of the streets, because if they are there, they're going to be target number one. As soon as the cops come in there, they're going to locate the black people in the crowd and take them down first. And they said that's already happened. It's already happened. There are videos up of the cops going straight for the black students. That's why we have no business being out there. If you don't have any bail money, your kid shouldn't be out there at all. Even if you do have the bail money, you want to spend that on groceries and gas and your bills. You don't want to spend that on no bail. So they need to keep their butts out of there, period. If they can't have class, bring your butt home. Bring your butt home. Plain and simple. But yes, and you can still see the stories of Gaza and all the fighting that's going on now. I noticed, like, over the last few days, they're coming out with all of these starvation stories over there. The people are starving over in Gaza. I've seen those stories crop up recently. So, I mean, starvation will happen during war. It happens virtually in every war. The people that get caught in the middle, they'll usually go through some form of starvation or even a famine. It happens all the time. Happened during the Civil War. They had a famine down there in the South. So I'm not surprised that it's happening in Gaza. So, y'all, I just wanted to give you that update and the craziness on the campus. I'm surprised it's not more, but then again, I think it's not more because of the time of the year we're in. That is the biggest reason. Oh, yeah, I remember Michael Davis, when Trump, yeah, that was not long after he came in office. He put a Muslim ban on, trying to keep Muslims from coming into the country. I absolutely remember that. I absolutely remember that. Mhm. Yeah, well, yeah, that's also the Prince of Paraphernalia, aka Pop. Yeah, that is also a normal thing. There, it's a war. They can't funeralize all of those people. So yes, a lot of folks will go in mass graves. A lot of people will. Well, yeah, I mean, Wania, Klenya, yeah, a lot of it is, they always have people infiltrating protest. If you remember, a lot of that went on during George Floyd's protests that broke out all over the country. There was a lot of people infiltrating and people burning things down there, and they had to come forward and said, that's not us. Black folks are not the ones doing that. And they do that to make the protesters look bad, especially black protesters. They are always infiltrating whatever we're out in the streets doing. They always do it. So I'm not surprised they're doing a lot of this on college campuses. Yeah, it's always done that way. Hmm. Yeah, but they don't even have all the campuses on here, because what happened in the video I showed you, that was UCLA. And if you look at California, you see two universities, but you don't see UCLA on there. So they don't really technically have all of them on the map. They don't have them all on here. But this is what this country absolutely don't want. They don't want this. And they know they can't come down on the students too hard, because this is their children. you know I don't know if you heard, but about a week ago, Ilhan Omar, they threw her daughter out of school for protesting. She got thrown out. So I mean, it's going to be a lot more. They're not going to go as hard on them as they do black folk, because like I said, these are their kids. These are their kids. And you can best believe a lot of them are very divided right now. Dark Skin Brother, thank you for the super chat. Stay out of it, my brothers and sisters. This is their judgment. You got that right. Amen. Yes. And Dark Skin Brother, also thank you for that super sticker as well. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but I think, like I said, they could go a lot harder on these two, because they are being violent out there. But like I said, these are their sons and daughters and grandchildren, and yeah, they're not going to go but so hard on them, for real. They're not. So, y'all, I just wanted to update you on this and let you see this map of how far reaching the protest is, because if you listen to mainstream news, all they want to talk about is Colombia, Colombia. And it makes you, or give you the illusion that things are not jumping off anywhere else. All right. And it's happening in virtually a lot of states. In my state, it's happening big at Princeton University. They're having a lot of protests there. But New York is getting all the shine, and right now California. So it gives you the illusion, oh, it's not that much going on in the country, and no, it really is. It really is. Yeah, they're showing a lot of the universities, but you're right, Kara Clark, it's the colleges too. you know and even this map is very deceptive. They're not upset because it's just a few colleges here and there. They're upset because it is widespread, and they're seeing how these young people are not quite with Israel. in this country, and that's not what they want to see. They don't want to see that. That's why you see, I mean, look, Netanyahu is a half a world away from here, and he's screaming and hollering about stopping these protests, stop the protests. I mean, in reality, he needs to worry about what's going on over there. He's really got his hands full. He got a lot on his plate over there dealing with what's going on. Mm-hmm. No, we ain't taking any side. we ain't taking nobody's side. So y'all have a wonderful day and stay safe. And I pray that none of your young people are out there, because they don't need to be out there at all. Shalom, family.